Welcome to this screencast on completing your critical thinking table. You'll be using this table for your Enron cases every week, but you can also be using this table your entire career to help you think through business problems from an ethical perspective. So here's how we're going to go about doing it. Let's say your class Blackboard site is set up that it automatically opens on the welcome page. Then you go to this left-hand side and you see this link that says Critical Thinking Blank Table, Table Blank. Click on that, and this is the table you're going to be using. So I recommend you cut and paste the picture of this table and save it in a Word document, and then just fill it in every week. And use the same table each week from scratch, beginning with blank, and then you're filling it in. What is it going to look like when you complete filling in the table? Go to this link here, Critical Thinking Enron Example, and this is what it would look like when you fill in the critical thinking table for the first Enron case about accepting Internorth's buyout offer. Should you accept it or not? So I've already filled this in, and I made it available as an example for you to help guide you filling in the table. But how do you get to this point? Once again, go back to critical thinking table blank and then begin filling this in. But you're going to be doing this for your Enron cases or any management problem, business problem you're faced with. So I'm going to go to my Save Critical Thinking Decision Making Process table that I've saved as a Word document. And now I'm going to fill this in using case number 1. Case number 1 in the Enron package is all about whether or not you, Ken Lay, as CEO of Houston Natural Gas, should accept an offer, and it's really a takeover by Internorth, which is 3 times larger than you. Your stock is selling at $46 a share, and Internorth, which doesn't want a hostile takeover from Irv Jacobs, comes up to you and says, hey, as a friendly gesture, as a white knight, we want to acquire you, and we'll give you $70 per share, which is now selling at $46. So if you were Ken Lay, CEO of Houston Natural Gas, and this offer was made, should you accept it or not? What are the ethical issues involved in thinking through that particular issue? So this is the way we're going to think it through, by filling in this table. Step 1, write the decision options in the appropriate column below. Step 2, apply the 7 ethical theories to decision-making questions to the decision to obtain relevant ethical information. Then do step 3. Insert the ethical strengths and weaknesses revealed by each of the 7 ethical questions in the appropriate column below. And then step 4. Given the strengths and weaknesses, choose a decision option. See note below for guidance. Explain why that option was chosen rather than the alternative options, and determine how to manage the weaknesses associated with the option chosen. So I'm going to take you through that. Step 1, write the decision options in the appropriate column below. So remember, in the blank version, everything is blank. But I'm kind of cheating a little bit here because I filled this in already. You have 2 options in this case. Option 1, reject the Internorth merger proposal, if you were Ken Lay, CEO of Houston Natural Gas. Or, second option, merge with Internorth. Some Enron cases might have 4 or 5 options. If that's the case, then just create more blank rows in this table. But once again, fill in what the options are that you're thinking about. And that's step 1. Step 2, applying ethical theories to decision-making questions to the decision to obtain relevant ethical information. What does that mean? Here are the 7 questions. The 7 questions appear in these rows here. So answer these 7 questions. First, who are all the people affected by the action? Well, this is going to impact you. You're Ken Lay. You might lose your job in this because this merged company only needs one CEO, and you're only 1/3 the size of Internorth. It also impacts Internorth. It impacts shareholders of both companies. It impacts Omaha, where Internorth headquarters is located. It impacts Houston, where your headquarters is located. It impacts your employees. It impacts your executives. So it has a huge impact on a lot of different people. Just list them here in this particular box. So you would begin filling that in with it impacts Ken Lay, Houston Natural Gas employees. Just begin filling in who all the stakeholders are and try not to make typos. Next, second question. What option benefits me the most? I'm Ken Lay, CEO of Houston Natural Gas. Well, let me think about this. If I accept the merger, I might lose my job. So that's kind of a drag. However, I also own a bunch of Houston Natural Gas stock, and my stock is valued at 46, and I'm getting paid $70 for that. So actually, both options have pluses and minuses. So it's it's mixed. Or we can say both, or you can write down mixed, either one, and then explain why. And we'll go back at the very end. We'll have this all typed in much better than what I'm doing right here. What option does my social group support? Once again, I'm Ken Lay, CEO of Houston Natural Gas. What would a good CEO do? Well, a good CEO is going to try to maximize shareholder wealth and think about shareholder other interests. Clearly, the wealth of shareholders is going to go up by accepting this merger offer. I mean, people that have shares at 46 are going to get $70 each. In the long-term interest, it might be better not to accept this, but I'm not sure. So I'm going to say, what is it going to be? Accept the merger, merge, and I'll explain why. Explain why there. Which one is legal? That's the next question. Both options are legal. What option is for the greatest good of the number of people impacted? That's a little bit more complicated. And that's going to take some thinking, and that's what you need to do on your homeworks. But whatever it is, then I'm going to fill in that answer. And which of the two options is for the greatest good for the greatest number of people affected? That's utilitarianism in philosophy. Then the next question is, what option is based upon truthfulness and respect and integrity toward each stakeholder? Well, I'm going to be honest either way, so it's not a matter of truthfulness in this case. But which one respects each stakeholder? Option 1, rejecting the merger, or option 2, accepting the merger? I'd have to think that through, and whatever my answer is, I'm going to write it in that box, and then I'm going to explain it, just in one sentence. Lastly, what would a virtuous person do? Virtuous person, if you're a Christian, a virtuous person might be Jesus Christ. If you're a Muslim, it could be Mohammed. Humanist, it could be Gandhi, it could be Martin Luther King. Whoever is a virtuous person in your mind, what would they do in a situation like this? And you would fill it in. Would somebody like Gandhi reject the merger or accept the merger? Fill that part in. So now you will have filled in these 7 answers to these 7 questions. Next step. Insert the ethical strengths and weaknesses revealed by each of the 7 ethical questions in the appropriate column. So that means you're going to be filling in right here. Given what you've just typed in above that, what are the strengths and weaknesses of these options? Well, if I reject the merger, it saves my job and that of other executives, and Houston Natural Gas remains in Houston. So I might put that as strengths, strengths for rejecting the merger. But the weaknesses in objecting the merger, I'm going to fill in over here. I miss out on a financial windfall for everybody. And we just remain a regional company. By merging with Internorth, we can go national. And then I need to do the same thing here. What are the strengths and weaknesses of merging with Internorth based upon the answers I gave through numbers 1 through 7? Well, we merge, we all make a lot of money on this merger because we're going to make a financial bundle with the stock price going up. And it provides us access with the largest natural gas system in the United States. On the weakness side, I might lose my job. Houston might lose Houston Natural Gas, and we got a huge debt. We're going to have a huge debt. I would write that in those 2 boxes there. Now, given all those strengths and weaknesses, given what I've written here in those boxes here, I'm going to read them carefully. Now I got to make my decision. What should I do? In this case, let's just be hypothetical and let's say I'm going to decide to merge because I like the idea of becoming part of the largest natural gas pipeline in the United States. And I have confidence in my own management skills that I'm not going to get fired if I'm Ken Lay. I'm a survivor. So I'm going to type in here, option chosen, number 2, merge. Now I got to explain why. Well, the reasons why I need to use these ethical theories and describe them. I think it's for the greatest good of the greatest number of people to do the merger. It'll be good for the shareholders. It'll probably be good for the economy. It'll be good for the natural gas pipeline system. So I'm going to explain all that and defend the reasons why based using these ethical theories. Maybe because of egoism, I'm going to make a lot of money. So I'll put that in there. And then lastly, how will you manage the chosen option weakness? So one of the weaknesses is I might lose my job. So I'm going to be talking to the board of directors of Internorth and say, hey, here's why you shouldn't fire me. And here's why you should make me CEO of the merged company, or at least keep my job. And actually, here's why you should stay in Houston, because that's the center of the natural gas pipeline. So that's how we fill in the chart. We've used the logic to play this through. And then what will it look like for this particular case? Exactly like this. Who are the people affected? That's the answer right there. What option benefits me the most? Mixed. What option would a CEO do? A good CEO do? Probably take the merger. Both are legal. Merger, I think, is for the greatest good, and here's the reason why. Which one respects people of the law? I think the merger does, based upon that logic. As you can see here, I completed the strengths and weaknesses in this area here. I typed in here, I'm going to merge. And here's the reason why. It's supported by social group relativism, cultural relativism, utilitarianism, deontology. And how will I manage the weaknesses? I need to use my political skills to come out on top of this merged organization and remain in Houston. And that's how you fill in the table. So by doing this, I'm training you to think like a philosopher. And I'm trying to get you to think about the moral perspective, the ethical lens to apply to when you're thinking through business issues so that you can become an organization of high integrity. I wish you the best of luck in doing this. Any questions, just send me an email. Thank you.